Hey guys, welcome to Dusty Toys. Sorry it's a bit dark, there's scaffolding outside my room because we're having a loft extension and light is a bit hard to get in, and then my ceiling light isn't that powerful. But as you know, I don't really upload on this YouTube channel often, and I really want to do that more often. So I thought, why not take one of my new interests, and that's model kit making. Here's one. It's not that great, this one. I've done better. And I thought, why not put that into a video format? And as you know, I did try to do that a little while back with my Mk Vc, I believe, and the Messerschmitt BF109G10. I didn't end up filming making the Messerschmitt because the Hurricane version I filmed was rubbish. You could see me, but you couldn't see what I was doing. I was narrating whilst making the model, and you couldn't. It was like I couldn't time lapse it, and it was a mess. It was rubbish, so I haven't even edited it. It's not going to be uploaded, but I've got this new video format where you look down at it and you can actually see what I'm doing, but you can't see me. I narrate over the video after editing, so I can do that in editing, and I can time-lapse scenes, so I think it's a much better video format. So yeah, we're going to make the Spitfire, and hope you enjoy.
This is the 2020 release of the Spitfire Mk Vc. It's been specially designed to make it easy for beginners. Inside the box you get an instruction sheet, 3 sprues, 4 humble acrylic paints, a small tube of cement and a paintbrush. I started by cutting the 2 fuselage parts off the sprue with a small pair of scissors. I cut as close up to the part as I could, making sure I didn't damage it. I could then take a nail file and sand down the remaining pieces of plastic. Sometimes I use the scissors to help make the process go quicker. The Humble 30 dark green needed for the inner sides of the fuselage had dried out. This made it ultimately unusable. Luckily I had a spare that was still liquid and usable. Using a paintbrush, small amounts of the paint was transferred to the palette. I used a couple of drops of water to thin my paint. This was used on both halves of the fuselage. Thinning your paints extends the drying time. This lets the paint level out and gives you a nice smoother finish. However, you do need a few more coats than normal. The same thinned down Humbrol 30 dark green was then used on the cockpit floor. This won't be very visible at the end, so it doesn't really matter how neat or careful you are. If you hear paper shuffling and stuff, it's because of my script. Small parts like this chair are left on the sprue so it's easier to paint. The next thing to do was take out the retaining pieces for the propeller. Later on the prop will be glued to this. One of the main pieces will have a small bit visible, so I'll paint it in Humbrol 64. It was a bit dry, so I put a couple small drops in it and gave it a good shake. I used the end of an old paintbrush to give it a good mix as well. The paint was now ready to be applied. The tube of cement that comes with the kit can be hard to apply. I instead use Revell Contactor Professional, which has a needle applicator, making it easier to apply. Once the glue is on the fuselage pieces, I can stick them together. Once they are stuck together, you may need to give it some pressure. A better idea than using just your hands is to put some clothes pegs on it. These two parts, I have made this kit before and I know these two parts don't go very well together, so I cut it down so it will go back together. I also gave it a little bit of sanding so that it would fit even better. They can now be glued together. This piece goes in the nose of the fuselage and a hood piece goes over the top. Using that Revell Contactor Professional again. If you are careful with this glue, you can have the prop spin later on. The top wing surfaces are now glued to the bottom wing surfaces. This may also need some pressure sometimes. The seat is also glued in. There is not much detail in this cockpit, but that's good for a beginner as it may be fiddly to do the small bits. The tail wing surfaces are also glued on. Now we can add the wings to the fuselage, and it's starting to look like a real plane now. The gaps between the fuselage and the wings are not too big, but they are a bit noticeable. Some small parts are glued to the bottom of the plane. I believe they are meant to represent things like air intakes. As you can see, I have masked the canopy off camera. It is often hard to mask. There is a display stand included in this set, but it comes in 2 parts and you must glue it together. I'm using Revell matte black spray paint to paint it. Whilst the display stand is drying, we can start painting the aircraft. I'm painting it in Humbrol 60 Thor, light grey or something. It has been thinned down. I believe this is a good time to start talking about how I think about this kit. It's quite good and brilliant for a beginner. However, that 30 dark green, a key paint to the completion of the kit, would throw a beginner off. And those 2 parts at the beginning with the spinny thing, that would just throw a beginner off and make their kit look really bad. The prop can now be painted as well. The nose is being painted in Humbrol 64. However, looking at the box art, it should have been a white colour. The blades are also painted in some thinned down 33 matte black. I masked off the areas that I wanted to keep black and put some yellow on the tips. Looking back, there was too much yellow on there. It should have been much smaller. I'm painting the top surface in 106. I've masked the bottom of the plane so I don't get this top coat on the bottom coat. I try to stay going in one direction so there's less brush strokes in the end result. Let's talk about the history of this aircraft. The kit represents an aircraft flown by the 303rd Polish Squadron in Norfolk, England, 1942. The Mk V came out to replace the shortcomings of the Mk 1 or 2. However, the same year, the FW190 entered service. The FW190 was much faster and what could outturn a Spitfire. So, in hopes of making the Spitfire able to roll out the way quicker, they decided to clip the ends of the Spitfire off. It is not shown on this kit, however, Airfix do sell a version of this kit with it. I am now doing the camo using that Humbrol 30 dark green. I'm following the back of the box art to make sure I keep the lines in the right direction. As you can see, the canopy has been glued on. For some reason, the clips showing this have been deleted. The pilot is also in there and he was painted with quite a few different paints. I will show this in a later video. The canopy has been glued on with PVA glue, as normal cement normally fogs up the canopy. I am removing the paint masks here. I can now start with adding on the decals. This is Humbrol Decal Fix, which is a setting solution. Setting solutions will pull your decals into the panel lines. I'm following the back of the box to check where the decals go. Decals are unlike normal stickers. Decals must be soaked in water so they can slide off the backing paper like this. I'm now doing the top RAF roundels. These have been slid on so it is much easier. These cartograph decals are great with little backing film, which are the clear parts around the decal to make it stronger. Backing film can sometimes silver if not careful. The aerial thingy can now be added to the aircraft. We are adding the final details on now and have almost finished our kit. We are now adding the prop to the aircraft. As you can see, it can still spin. I'm painting the exhaust in Humbrol 53, which is a metallic colour. Normally I paint it in 33 matte black, but I thought that was too inaccurate for what I was trying to portray. The wheels can now be added on and they are the final parts to be glued. I didn't use the 106 included in the kit as I thought it was too dark. I regret that now, as this 106 included with the kit, as you can see on the Harrier, is quite a nice colour. I've made a few of these starter kits: the Spitfire, the RAF Red Arrows Hawk, and the Lockheed F-35B Lightning. They look quite nice, and I want to make more of these RAF Red Arrow Hawks so I can have a small squadron hanging in my ceiling with some cotton coming out of the back of them to represent the smoke that comes out of them. All three of them look really nice displayed together. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making this kit. If you want to buy this kit, it is still available on the Airfix website for about £12. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you'll come back again to see more of my videos. I will try to make more videos this year. See you in the next one, I guess. Bye!